Stop being brainwashed. Don't give anyone the right to deceive you with adult fairy tales. Open your eyes, open your mind, see what's going on around the world.
During the 7th century, the forces of Islam burst across the Mediterranean world, completely remaking the map. In the 8th century, the Islamic Empire held sway over North Africa and southern Spain. In 732, they were stopped by Charles Martel in the Loire Valley and were turned in defeat to return to Spain. Ferdinand and Isabella finally drove the Muslim forces from Spain in 1492. In the east, Muslim armies marched as far as the Indus River and held significant territory by 751. It wasn't until 1453, when Constantinople fell to the Ottoman Turks, that Muslim pressure on the Byzantine Empire ended victoriously. This swift and complete conquest of these territories was not due to just superior military strategies. The Islamic religion had a great appeal to millions of converts. The contributions of Islam to the body of world knowledge are unparalleled. Arab scholars translated classical philosophers, and these translations were sent to the West. Arab scholarship also laid the foundations for arithmetic and astronomy. They made significant contributions to the study of medicine. Their art also created an enduring body of elegant design and decorative elements.
My name is Dr. Philip Mansell. I've written 10 books about France and the mixed cities of the Middle East, and this year I've published a short history of Aleppo, the rise and fall of Syria's great merchant city. Aleppo was called the epitome of the whole world in 1628 by an English traveller, and I think it still is today. Today, as the armies of the Syrian government, the Russians, Islamic State are threatening Aleppo, they're about to pounce on the city. It's on the edge of extinction. Aleppo shows the vulnerability of cities, mixed cities in particular perhaps, but really all cities. If politics and economics go wrong, anything can happen, even in a city like Aleppo, which has 5 centuries of Muslims, Christians and Jews living together, English, French, Persians, Indians, Turks, Kurds. This went on until really yesterday, until 2011.
October, the year 623 CE. A place called Yathrib, some 200 miles north of Mecca, is a collection of villages strung out on the banks of an 8-mile-long desert oasis. It's also the current home of the Prophet Muhammad. Not yet a general, having no army to speak of, he has recently fled the wrath of those in Mecca who did not want him as their king. It'll be another 7 years before he returns there with a force of 11,000 men to persuade them otherwise. Today is a special day. After months of disappointment, one of Muhammad's raiding parties has finally met with success. They stand outside his home with their prize, a small caravan of camels loaded with wine, leather goods, and raisins. They even have prisoners, 2 of the caravan's 4 drivers, thumbs tied together behind their backs. A third driver has escaped, while the body of the 4th lies decomposing in the desert. A successful raid is cause for celebration. But Muhammad's men are accompanied by a mob of angry locals, outraged that these Muslim bandits have violated a sacred custom, terrified that their transgression will bring divine judgment on all of Yathrib. The crowd waits in anxious silence as the Prophet comes out of a trance, concluding one of his many emergency backroom conferences with God. After catching his breath, he says to them, his hurried conversation with God resulted in several new verses for the Quran, providing 2 important clarifications for the Prophet. First, God removed all doubt concerning whether Muhammad should act only in self-defense, expressly ordering him to take revenge on those who had persecuted the Muslims. The second clarification was that this persecution justified the actions of the raiders. That is, God was commanding Muhammad to go on the offensive, even so far as to murder unsuspecting civilians, whose involvement in the whole affair went no further than being employees of the so-called persecutors. Muhammad was serious. His opponents would never understand just how serious he was. Their approach to warfare was similar to their approach to raiding. Neither attacker nor defender attempted to annihilate the other. They didn't know any other way. Most of them couldn't imagine any other way. If they had, they would have recognized their doom in the battle cries of the soldiers when they finally met the Prophet's army. The pagans shouted the names of their gods, Al-Uzza, Manat, while Muhammad's men shouted, "Kill! Kill!"
A beast will emerge out of the Holy Land. It is plain for everybody to see except George Bush. Who is that beast which has emerged out of the Holy Land and is behaving like a wild beast to such an extent that even Jewish intellectuals now, even Jewish intellectuals in Israel are now denouncing it and are warning the world of a tremendous catastrophe which is about to occur. I'm not the only one talking about it. Jewish intellectuals in the state of Israel are denouncing this beast, the state of Israel, in the hands of those who now want it to become the ruling state in the world.
Don't waste time listening to lies and fairy tales and believing in things that exist only in people's imagination. You need to find the courage to oppose the spread of any ideology of lies that lead people to feel hatred and hostility toward other humans. Fight for things that are based on real facts and actual events, but not in ancient fairy tales and people's imagination.